Hi, this is your host Sapna Bhartiya, and we are back with our yearly prediction video series. And today we have with us Jon Whitney, Chief Product Officer at Airbyte. John, it's great to have you on the show.
Great to be on. Thank you so much for having me.
It's my pleasure. Of course, I'll ask you to pick your crystal ball and share your predictions with us. But before that, quickly tell our audience what is Airbyte all about.
Airbyte is a open source data integration, data movement platform. And so we are all about making data actionable anywhere. So we want your data to get to where it needs to go on time, and make it as valuable, help companies and users and practitioners get the most from their data by getting it places.
Perfect. Thank you. Now it's time for you to pick your crystal ball and share your predictions with us.
Obviously, I hope, I hope I'm right about this, but I'll do my best. So I think my number one prediction at Airbyte is that this will be the year that what I've been calling the conundrum of first-party data gets unlocked, gets solved. And so what do I mean by that? What we've seen from our users and customers is that some of the hardest and most valuable data is the data that you own already. And so getting data from common SaaS APIs, et cetera, databases like that's all stuff that people know how to do, that people work on. But some of those internal APIs that were developed in-house that have some of those key nuggets, not necessarily the biggest volume, but some of the hardest to connect to. And that we think this is the kind of most finicky part of data integration. So my prediction is that this will be the year that people really unlock that. So that's my number one. It's something we're heavily focused on at Airbyte here. Number two, I think nobody can do predictions in 2025 without talking about AI. And so I would say my take on it is that this is kind of a convergence moment where, and I think that convergence moment is going to be is caused by the Gen AI kind of revolution that's happening, right? So just to explain the logic there, I think over the past decade or so, we've seen kind of tool fragmentation happening, and where you get very kind of niche tools focused on specific problems. And I think with Gen AI, the kind of re-architecture that's needed in order to get to all your data, to get to these huge new volumes of data, unstructured data, et cetera, is kind of when people will realize that now is the opportunity to kind of clean house on your data architecture. And so that will lead to more of a convergence where you're going to see tools and platforms that can handle kind of a wider range of things come out. So that's number two for us. And third and last, I only have three for you today, is especially given those first two, we think open source goes from being kind of a nice to have to a competitive advantage. And so I know that's something you care a lot about as well. Something we see where we're kind of, this cleaning house of architecture, this re-architecture moment, you get to maybe even get rid of some of your contracts or something, you get a new moment to do the right thing. And we really see open source, open core as the winners in this space because it's the most trusted way to get access to that very finicky first-party data. So those are my three predictions.
Excellent. Thank you for sharing these predictions with us. Now, if you look at these predictions, what are the challenges you see are going to be for the whole ecosystem, industry player, customers, and even for Airbyte to tackle?
Yeah, it's a really good one. It's a good question. Again, it's hard to know the future. But I think, so I was hinting at this with this kind of clean house, this disruptive moment. I would add to that there's kind of general economic uncertainty, there's technology uncertainty, there's so much change. How fast is the change going to happen? There's a lot of kind of uncertainty around that. And so I think I think that creates, I mean, in my experience, I've been around in the tech industry for 20 plus years. Like these moments of uncertainty, I've seen several big ones, 2008. They create moments where some companies kind of freeze up and aren't sure what to do. And then you have those that can make faster, better decisions, get access to their information, get faster. And so in a way, I mean, I guess challenges, opportunities, predictions, that I see them kind of all linked together here in that moment of disruption. Uh, if you have access to the right data at the right time in the right context, you can be the company that freezes the least, or that gets out of your uncertainty the fastest, and that's a massive opportunity. But it's also a huge challenge because you have to trust, right? You have to trust that you're making a good decision because there's so much uncertainty, so much noise. It's hard to do.
There are certain things that we all want or we wish, hey, this will happen, but we also know that it's very unlikely to happen. So what are things that are on your wish list that you wish should happen, but you know for sure that they won't?
I mean, so such a great question. I think maybe the one that comes to mind, um, the easiest for me is this re-architecture. I've been an architect before. In my misspent youth, I was a architect at various companies, and you always kind of wish. I always wished at the time that re-architectures would be super easy, um, and in a way they are. It's like easy to like know what you should do next. You can pick your tools. Um, it's the opportunity to pick those new tools, like I was saying before, and you kind of know what you're going to build next, and you build that first prototype, and it all goes great, right? But then I think this is the part where I wish it would be different, and I know it's not going to be, is that getting from that first thing, and you've picked your new tool, and taking that all the way to production. It's a journey for everybody, and while I wish that would happen for all of our customers this year, I think it's going to be a journey. Um, so for all of you doing this out there who are watching this video and who are planning a re-architecture, I've been there, and it'll be a journey, but it's a fun one too.
Excellent, thank you. Now if you look at these predictions, challenges, and wish you and the now if you look at these predictions and these challenges, what is going to be the focus of Airbyte in 2025?
I thought of a couple of ways to say this. The first thing is, what's the one word? If I had to pick one word for Airbyte, what is it? And that word is context. Um, what this means to us is making sure that our customers, our users, have the right data in the right place at the right time. Right? That's context. Right? That ties everything together. It's useless if you have the data somewhere and you can't get access to it, or it's too late. Right? So that's the overall focus. I think what that really breaks down to, though, to get more granular about it, and again, this is back to our origins, to our origin story. We are an open source, open core product, and so the number one focus for us is always that community, and helping the practitioners who are out there every day using Airbyte get that context, like making our open source product be the best. That's always number one for us. So we put a huge amount. It's not just product and engineering. It's how we interact with the community. It's everything. Investing in that ecosystem. Huge focus. We want to, while people are going through this period of uncertainty, we want to be there with them. And then I think I'm going to, there'll be no surprise given what this prediction about first party data, like extensibility, is a key focus for Airbyte. We want to be the tool that lets you access that finicky, really hard to get internal private data that nobody else can get to. You can see this in some of our numbers. There are over 10,000 custom connectors built already on Airbyte. We just released our connector builder and our AI assistant so that even non-technical people can access that data using an AI assistant and build a connector on the fly. And so that's a huge part of our focus. Is we never want anybody who uses Airbyte to have to write a custom pipeline. They might have to write a custom connector, but we want to enable them and empower them to do it in Airbyte so that the data can be governed and the chaos can be managed. So those are the top two. Next up, obviously, we're open core, so that means we have an enterprise product, and making sure that we can handle kind of the diversity of deployments and architectures that come with like massively distributed pipeline management systems. And so that's a key focus for us. Is I would call it kind of hybrid multi-cloud, enabling the data to be activated across those different environments. So kind of expanding beyond just classic kind of extract and load to the warehouse in the enterprise world. And then last focus, and not least at all, is a massive investment in our support for unstructured and complicated data, metadata, streaming data, et cetera. It's just a huge amount of support, and for all the things that are needed for that Gen AI platform. Like, if we're right that there's this re-architecture coming, we can't be building a platform for the past architecture. We have to be building a platform for what we think the new architecture is going to be. And so that's where a lot of our focus goes.
John, thank you so much for joining me and share your predictions with us. I would love to have you back on the show again at the end of this year to check how many of your predictions turn out to be true and to get the new set of predictions. I really appreciate your time to do that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope you'll have the receipt so you can tell whether I was right or not. Thanks so much.